This show is brought to you by Manscaped. Use the code AFTV for 20% off your order and free shipping at manscaped.com.
Hi, welcome to AFTV. I've got James B with me. 0-0 at Anfield, first leg. Let's look at the positives. There was a lot of positives to take from today.
Yeah, I think it's only positives today, no? I mean, Granit Xhaka did his thing, but I think I more than said my bit on full time and half time. I'm not going to go on too much because I think there's just so much to enjoy from today. The boys and a very young team, led by the fabulous Lacazette, you know, showing his leadership and his strength and his intelligence and his commitment. You know, this is a guy who in 6 months, you know, can walk out for free. This is a guy who is probably getting phone calls from clubs asking about his situation because he can sign with anyone now. But
should we be pushing to keep him? Should we be pushing to
a conversation for another day? Let's see how the rest of the season goes. Let's see what goes on with this Vlahovic stuff. You know, does he want to play second fiddle again? I think that's been Lacazette's biggest problem since he arrived. We signed Aubameyang very quickly, and he is not. I think for about 4 months of his Arsenal career, has he been our main striker, our lead number 9. And I think that's what's been the problem. So if he were 28, 29, I know he's not much older, maybe 30, 31, but if he was like in his prime years, you know, in the way, kind of like how we signed him and we weren't looking elsewhere, I'd say maybe we don't need to splash the cash yet so much, but it is a position we need to address. But he's doing brilliantly, and I've got to give him massive credit. Yeah, I mentioned Xhaka. What an idiot. Can't believe he did it. But listen, Xhaka will play very well when he's on the pitch. Sometimes he'll be okay and he coasts through a little bit. But no matter what level of Xhaka you get, there's an error waiting. I think there's a good player there. I commend his heart and his commitment to Arsenal and his professionalism off the pitch. He's clearly a good role model. A lot of the players love him, all that. But he fundamentally makes far too many errors on the pitch. Far too many. From the penalty against City to the red card. And he kind of got off lightly with that penalty against City because of the way the referee officiated the game. But yeah, no excuses tonight. He put his team under immense pressure and they came through for him.
Do you worry about the experienced players in the side? You said you want to move, obviously, the conversation away from Lacazette, sign a new deal. But they are our kind of experienced players, him, Xhaka. We lack that. That's why I questioned you bringing in, re-signing Lacazette.
Well, it's about whoever we bring in midfield, and it looks like we might do. They're talking about Arteta from Juventus. 25 years old. That's plenty of experience for me. I don't need them to be in their 30s, rolling their sleeves up, you know, with 100 caps. They need to be. They need to be at a good age where they've played European football. They need to be at a good age where they play a lot of first-team football, and Arteta fits the bill. So, that kind of player in midfield helps. And ideally, you want that kind of presence leading the line, whether that's presence through leadership and experience, or, you know, we're linked to a Vlahovic and a Calvert-Lewin, Isaac. They're players who, much younger. Calvert-Lewin a bit older, 24, but they've got a presence up front, and I think that's key as well. So, leadership doesn't always have to be about experience, but today I think Lacazette's know-how and, you know, where to be and how to win the ball back and how to support the midfield 3 behind him. He was terrific. I've got to give him massive credit.
Okay, let's look at if you were the manager, James, for Sunday. There's a lot of conundrums that you have to kind of think about. Obviously, the midfield. Who do you start? If you bring in a player, say if Arthur does come in, do you start him straight away? Yep. There is some to say maybe put in a postponement request potentially.
If Arsenal are eligible for one, 100%.
Interesting.
Yeah, if they're eligible for one, those are the rules. But I don't think we are. I don't think we've got that many COVID cases. I don't see our COVID cases suddenly flying up.
But I feel like Arteta would field an 11. I think you've heard him.
Arteta said in his post-match today, he said, you know, it is what it is, no excuses. Superb mentality, and I hope that filters through to the players. I said this week, if we get 2 draws, I'd be over the moon. 1 down. And 1 down in big circumstances with the red card, the players missing. You know, I woke up this morning thinking we're going to have 11 men, and 2 of them are going to be Smith Rowe and Odegaard, and Tomiyasu. No, they're out, and then Xhaka just does his best impression of a fly kick, and Lee's like, look, I can laugh about it now because we got through. But, you know, the guy's left us now very light for Spurs, and we'd have wanted him in that game. He can't play the next Liverpool because he's put us under immense pressure. I don't think Adu's going to be thanking him. Adu's probably on phone calls and doing paperwork and all sorts. So, yeah, anyway, but the energy's good. The energy's good because That was so admirable.
Yeah.
People would talk about Albert Mane and Salah. Listen, we didn't have Odegaard and Smith Rowe, two of our key attacking players. Aubameyang for other situations, an AFCON or whatever, but again, not an option an option we could have called upon earlier in the season. We can't now. Pepe, the kind of player who, yes, isn't a first teamer, but a match winner sometimes, not available today. Partey, probably our best footballer, probably our best player.
We haven't seen it.
No,
we've only seen it in one performance,
and he was getting into it,
yeah,
and now we don't have him. So, yeah, Tomiyasu, one of our best defenders. So look, we had players missing, and we rose to it.
Let me just to round up, James. I want to ask you. I've asked a few people this today. Were you surprised though from the performance from Liverpool, because they had a strong side? Let's not lie. The player, yes, there's no Mane, there's no Salah, but I was very, very worried about that side, and the boys really very much dealt with it. I think they had one shot on target. I think.
You guys won't know him. Cass works with us here at AFTV. Big up, Cass. He talked about Liverpool playing percentage football. And when I was trying to I don't want to call him Route 1 because that sounds really hard. But percentage football's true. They hit the lines when the space there that goes along where they can. They keep the ball when it's not on. But they often try and just the physical element of getting the football into areas where you can more likely hurt teams. They do that. And they pressure you through the press, and they pressure you through the relentless, can you deal with this cross? Can you deal with this cross? Can you deal with that overlap? Can you deal with that ball over the top? And it's not just long to Firmino, it'll be long down the channels. It will be trying to play through the middle when they can and then flooding you with the energy they got in their three midfielders. So a very good side. Was I surprised with their performance? I came here with a little bit of a spring in my step actually today. I know I said we'd lose 2-1, but that sounds really negative. I thought we'd be in the game. I didn't think this would be another 4-0. I certainly didn't think with 10 men we'd hold them out, and that was really impressive. But what it did, and I mentioned it on full time, go back and watch that little section if you enjoy it. I broke down why Arteta deserves massive credit today, because when you lose a man and you're playing a 4-4-2 or a 4-4-1-1, the easiest thing to do, you've played the game, is 4-4-1 and just kind of, two banks of four, one striker, hope something happens. Yeah. And the reason Arteta was brilliant today, and yes, he can get criticism for the Xhaka contract and the amount of red cards under him, but we're going to brush that aside for a sec. The reason he deserves massive credit is because when you're playing a 4-4-1, you've got no spatial word, let's say positional advantage anywhere on the pitch. No. You got your four defenders, well that's normal, but you're coming up against Liverpool front three. You got your four in midfield, but you're outrun by Liverpool because they got their three, then Firmino drops in, or they've got their front three and midfield three, and then you've only got Nketiah on his own. So what he basically did was take off Nketiah, bring on Holding. At this point, Chambers had come on for Cedric. Yeah. We had a very robust five in Chambers, White, Holding, Gabriel and Tierney. 5 defenders who, for all their pros and cons, and there are some weaknesses in there from some of those players who we're ready to move on, they're very good at defending tight spaces and low blocks. And then he went for a midfield 3, so he didn't get outrun centrally, and he kept it very compact in the middle. Mm-hmm. And then Lacazette dropped in to help as well to make it almost a 4, like a diamond. Yeah. It was very negative, and it didn't mean that we were going to counter a lot, but it made it very difficult for Liverpool to play through. And it also meant when we did have that out ball, Saka or Martinelli from that midfield 3 could pull wide, and then one of Chambers or Tierney could go forward, knowing that there was another 4 defenders there to cover. So it was good, and it was impressive, and it stifled Liverpool, and you got to give them massive credit for that. Now, it's only halfway done. We're halfway there.
Yeah.
And I say halfway there. We're actually not even halfway there, because it's still 0-0. We still have to score a goal against this side, and we haven't yet in 180 minutes of football against them. But it was a very good result in the circumstances. I don't mean the red, I mean everything. And now we've given ourselves a chance to get these players back, get a player through the door, recover everything, and it's a straight shootout at the Emirates for a place in the final. And that's quite exciting. I didn't think we'd be in that position. So well done to the team. Roll on the North London derby.
A massive credit to Mikel Arteta.
Massive.